Wow! The newest trailer just dropped for Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury, and I gotta say, I'm very impressed. I've talked in great detail on how Nintendo over-relies on Wii U ports to sell the Switch, but this is the one exception where the new additions are so substantial that it's almost like a new game. 3D Mario is my all-time favorite series of games, with Super Mario Odyssey being my favorite game of all time. And at first glance, this new Bowser's Fury mode appears to be a mix of Super Mario Odyssey and 3D World, but there's actually way more to it than just that. And in this video, I'll be going over everything you need to know about Bowser's Fury, along with Super Mario 3D World on the Switch.
You are now watching The Meech.
When we first got a glimpse of Bowser's Fury back in September of last year, we didn't know what it was, but looking at the brief footage that we got, I had a feeling it was going to be open world. And when it comes to being a Super Mario detective, I'm your guy for that. I remember how I predicted that Super Mario Odyssey would be an open world 3D Mario having Mario travel around the world, just based on the 5 seconds of footage in the Switch reveal. And it turns out my prediction was right. But you know when predictions are the best? When they're even better than what you expected. Bowser's Fury takes Mario and Bowser Jr. into a gigantic land that we've never seen before. It is called Lake Lapcat. Rather than being your traditional sunny and cheery stage in Mario, or even dark and spooky like the Cap Kingdom in Odyssey, we are greeted to a somewhat cloudy and mystique world. At first glance, it may seem similar to a kingdom in Super Mario Odyssey, but as it turns out, this is the most open area in any Mario game ever. Basically, you and Bowser Jr. will be traversing one gigantic stage, using all of Mario's abilities from 3D World. Your goal is to collect cat shines, which are similar to star shines and moons from the previous games. What these shines do is open up new areas of the world to explore by cleaning up the lighthouses tarnished by the mysterious black goop. So in a way, this is an entirely new take on 3D Mario. Sandbox 3D Mario places you in open environments, but uses levels. So essentially, you're exploring mini sandbox environments. But here, you're exploring one big world that opens up even more in accordance to how many cat shines you've collected from everything I've seen. I always love when the Mario series tries something new unless it's Sticker Star, and this looks amazing. That's why I like to call it the Breath of Wild of Super Mario from what I can gather. Will it be as grand in scope? Not quite. But the concept of one gigantic world to explore that opens up as you progress is the same concept, so I see that they're going for a more Breath of the Wild style for 3D Mario here. So how do you obtain these cat shines? You can get them via standard platforming challenges, or by tackling enemies. It's very similar to how Odyssey's moons work, but there's also another collectible being the cat coins. These are smaller than the cat shines, but what could their function be? Their function could be like moon pieces in Odyssey, where 5 will give you a moon, or they could be used like purple coins and be used in a shop, though I don't think that's what they're going to be used for, because I don't think costumes will be in this mode, so let's go with the moon pieces. Now that we've come to an understanding about the gameplay, it's time to answer the question of, what is the story and what is Bowser Jr. doing betraying his own father? We're in for some catastrophic news, and that's the fact that literally everything is cat themed. From the enemies to the NPCs, and yes, even the birds, there's a major cat theme going on here, way harder than it was in the original 3D world. I love cats, so this is really good stuff right here. But I have a theory of what the story of Bowser's Fury could be. As menacing as Fury Bowser looks, what if he's not the true villain? My theory is that a new feline villain has taken over, and has hypnotized all of Bowser's minions to obey his orders. That would explain why every enemy, and I mean every enemy, is a cat, and why Bowser Jr. is teaming up with you. It appears Bowser has been trapped in this icky paint-like goop, and is possessed by it, turning him into Fury Bowser. Why else would Bowser Jr., who's almost always been a villain, team up with Mario if that weren't the case? I also notice when the world gets dark and rainy, the friendly cat NPCs become enemies. There couldn't be a more perfect villain than a cat god of sorts. In fact, there were some hieroglyphics of cats. What I can gather is that the cat villain unleashes its fury, then the cats awaken to it, then the cat villain rests, and becomes the ultimate cat villain. For a Mario game to go beyond Bowser bad is really cool, and while I can't guarantee this will be the case, it does explain why Bowser Jr. will be teaming up with you. I've also seen a theory going around that the pink, blue, green, and black cat NPCs are actually Peach, Luigi, Toad, and Rosalina transformed into cats. This would actually make a lot of sense considering that Mario and Bowser Jr. seem to be the only playable characters. But on the flip side, it could be the other way around, because the pink cat is more magenta than pink, which doesn't fit Cat Peach. Though if I had to guess, it would be the former. We then have this mysterious calico cat that many are theorizing to be Daisy. I'm sorry to break it to you, but in the background, there's another calico cat, making me assume they're just regular NPCs. Sorry Daisy fans, but at least you had your chance in Smash.
Ouch!
Going back to Bowser Jr., I said he was playable, and while he seems to have a mind of his own in single player, you can actually play as him in co-op multiplayer, similar to Mario Odyssey's multiplayer where one player controls Cappy, and the other plays as Mario. Though it would be really cool if you could unlock him as a playable character. I'm sure he's just going to play the sidekick role to Mario this time around, but it's really cool regardless. So far we've gathered that Bowser's Fury is the first truly open world Mario game, has a perfect cat theme going for it, and could have an appalling villain. With how amazing Bowser's Fury looks, it's easy to forget that there is indeed Super Mario 3D World along with Bowser's Fury. There are a few differences between the original Super Mario 3D World released on the Wii U back in 2013 and a Switch port coming next month, so I'll list them off. I love 3D World, but if there's one complaint I had with the game, that it was a bit stiff control-wise. It was a bit slow, and the character movement wasn't as smooth as it usually is. That was likely to accommodate for Wii remotes being used for multiplayer, which only had a D-pad and a few buttons, but with the Switch, every controller has an analog stick, so it's very likely full 3D movement will be in the game, along with better controls, rather than the original 8-way movement from the Wii U original. This game also runs at a 20% faster speed than the original, which is a welcome addition, but the biggest new addition is online multiplayer. Whether or not the online multiplayer will work is beyond me, but if it's included and works well, it will be a game changer. Amiibo functionality will be in the game, with the 2 new Cap Mario and Peach amiibo giving you power-ups, and the Bowser and Bowser Jr. amiibo summoning Fury Bowser and creating a shockwave to kill enemies respectively. And in addition to that, there's the photo mode from Odyssey. We have learned that the stamps that were originally used for Miiverse are now used in photo mode. They're even in color this time around, making them even cooler. So there you have it. Here's everything you need to know about Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury. After analyzing all the new footage and going over the new additions, I'm excited for this game. Despite being a port, Bowser's Fury looks really promising and may be worth double dipping for. If I have one concern though, it has to do with the length of Bowser's Fury. I'm guessing it'll be 5 to 8 hours max, but I'd love to be proven wrong. Either way, I'm picking up this game day one, and I will continue to keep you guys updated on more news about 3D World and Bowser's Fury. So what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments, and keep calm and da-da on.